How are you? Well, look, great to be back in Brussels so soon again for my first Foreign Affairs Trade Council. As always, busy agenda today, in particular looking to see how we can progress our overall trade agenda. Firstly, obviously the ongoing conversation on India, but also our relationships with China and how we can progress that. Really looking forward to our lunch discussions this afternoon with Secretary Lutnick and with Ambassador Greer. It's really important that we work together to implement the agreement that was reached in August, but also that we look in ways in which we can expand and further grow what is a mutually beneficial relationship between us. So I really look forward to those discussions.
Minister, just on tariffs and pharmaceuticals, there was a huge amount of fear and threats from the Trump administration. It hasn't seemed to yet have materialised into any actual tariffs on pharma exports. Is Ireland able to kind of sit back a little bit now on that? Do you feel that threat has passed?
Look, what I would say is, and to acknowledge my predecessor and predecessors, we've worked really hard in building our relationship at an Ireland level, but also at an EU level on many matters, including pharma. It's obviously a really important industry for us. We export a significant amount to the US, but it's also equally a very important industry for the US. Many of the drugs that are developed in Ireland go on then, and obviously there's further development in the US. So it's an important two-way industry for both the US and the EU, and obviously Ireland being an integral part of that. So we'll continue our discussions and engagements with the Commissioner, with our EU partners, and obviously with the US, but obviously focusing on other areas as well, whether it's medtech, whether it's our whisky industry or our agri-food industry as well, and hope that we can make further progress on these important matters as well.
Given the losses for the Republican Party in recent elections in the US and the apparent hesitation now by the Trump administration to keep pressing on tariffs and to perhaps lift tariffs here and there with trade partners around the world, do you think this is perhaps is this going to extend to tariffs on European products? And of the 27-page list of tariffs that the Commission has drawn up of products, what products in particular is Ireland hoping will face reduced tariffs?
Look, I think it's fair to say there is a really positive relationship there. I think it's fair to say that we have a significant mutually beneficial trading arrangement. It's our largest partner, and so we're going to work really hard, the EU, in making sure that it's beneficial not just for industry and business, but for individuals, consumers, for our population as well. I won't get into the list, but obviously, Ireland will be working hard and will be making the case, as I will be today, to make sure that medtech is very much part of that, to make sure that our whisky industry and our agri-food industry is part of that as well, and then there'll be many other areas, but it's something that I'll certainly be raising today and we'll certainly be working closely with the Commission on.
Minister, on the whisky front, when the framework agreement between von der Leyen and Trump was signed and there was those initial exemptions for things like aircraft, there was a sense that spirits would maybe follow shortly after, and there was a bit of momentum behind that. That kind of seems to have abated now. Is that kind of fair to say that we don't seem to be as close to a deal on spirits exemptions as we might have hoped we were?
Well, I think what was clear at the time of that agreement was that there would be space for further discussions on further areas of common interest, and that's what we're working on. That's what I hope we can make progress on in the lunch today, and certainly something that Ireland is very much engaged on in our engagement with our Commissioner, with my EU counterparts as well, but also with the US. So, I think there's a space to make further progress, and that's certainly something, from our own perspective, from our agri-food perspective, which is obviously a huge part of our economy, that we'll be focused on.
Are you in any way encouraged by some of the signals from the US administration in Geneva last night over the talks with Ukrainian counterparts?
Look, I think the reports from all sides were extremely positive. I think it's really welcome that we've had the discussions. It's very clear, obviously, there's further work that needs to be done, and Europe has been very clear. Any discussion around the EU must include the EU and must obviously be agreed by the EU. But I think the soundings yesterday certainly and the feedback very much is that this is a step in the right direction. Of course, we can't lose sight of the fact that there cannot be any agreement without Ukraine being front and centre. There cannot be any agreement where land is taken or ceded by force, and we have to ensure that the security not just of Ukraine but of the EU as a whole, that is protected in any agreement moving forward. But I do welcome the discussions, and I think certainly there were very positive discussions that took place, and we hope that will continue today and into the week. we'll have our own EU Foreign Affairs Ministers VEC meeting on tomorrow, on Wednesday morning, apologies, and obviously look forward to discussing it further with colleagues then.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a million, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cheers.